Alright, so this is the bullshit that the HOA asked for. The problem is they think they're smarter than an architect, an engineer, and local building inspector. This is an Airbnb and the guests are complaining about what the pond looks like. Muck this pond out, dredge it. Sitting here on the road, you couldn't reach back there, you need to get around the side. So to get the long stick back there, we'd have to clear that. But if we clear that, we can do it with a regular hoe. The bigger problem is that haul all this dredge out, it's gonna destroy this road. It's covered all with mud, you know, because it drained out of the bed of the truck the whole time. So you gotta do like 3 jobs in one. We gotta clear, dredge, and then clean the road afterwards. Up there at the top, see all that silt that's washed in, almost made an island. You know, when you dredge that out, you can't get the truck in there to load it. That's just to drain the pond, bring a machine down in and dig it all out. I stopped by the other day and checked that pond out, and you know, obviously seen the trees that had fallen. I'm not sure how far you want to go with dredging that pond. We can dredge a pond a couple different ways. You know, you just drain the water, go in with a machine, dig all the crap that's, you know, built up in it back down to good clay, and then haul it all away. Or sometimes you can do it from the creek banks without having to drain it. Wood line is so close to it, we'd have to clear, you know, around it to get a machine around it. Or we can, you know, drain it and walk a machine down in it. And the easiest way to do it is if there's, you know, 8 to 10 feet all the way around it, we can just do it from the sides of the bank. Because there's not, we'd have to clear. So either way is gonna be a little bit more work than just a normal dredge job from the bank. Are you wanting to get that involved with it?
You know, it sounds expensive.
It is expensive, yeah. Let me ask you one more thing too before I just start spitting numbers out at you. Is there anywhere in the development that you know of, or do you own any other property that the dredge could be hauled to, or does it all need to be hauled off site?
It couldn't just be put on the hill that goes up to the house. Would that be bad for the land?
Muck, which is what you pull out of the pond, takes sometimes years to dry out. It'd be like just putting mud on the bank that would never dry.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think we could put it anywhere around the property.
I don't think so either. I can work the road side from the bank, and I can work halfway down that side towards like the dock. I could remove a couple more trees and get back to the back of it. I won't do anything for the far side of the pond, you know, without getting down inside of it, but that would be the least amount of work to do something with it. Even something like that is probably gonna be like 15 grand.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, clearing that one side, hauling, it's probably really only 50% of the muck that I could get out of it. Another thing, imagine me reaching in the pond with an excavator bucket and pulling out. Half my bucket's gonna be full of water and half of it's gonna be full of mud, and I'm reaching over and putting it in the bed of a dump truck, and as the dump truck leaves the HOA, dirty water is gonna be running all over the roads, so I'm gonna have to keep the roads clean. There's an expense that is incurred with that as well. So no matter which way we do it, you have that expense. Unfortunately, it's just a difficult pond to muck. We have to do 3 jobs just to get to the job you want done. And I've tried to think about, is there a way with a smaller machine I can, you know, make an aesthetic difference in it so it at least appears a little bit nicer without having all this cost. There's really not a whole lot that I could do. I mean, I have mini excavators that have like a 13-foot reach, and I could reach out and just kind of knock some of the stuff off the top down. That's still a couple $1,000, and you're really not doing anything besides knocking the weeds back below the water line, you know. The amount of muck that's in the pond is outrageous. I mean, it's 70, 80 dump truck loads of stuff that needs to come out of there for it to be completely like back to revitalized and not have to do this again for many years. So anything in between there, you're just kind of buying some time. Even if like you were to abandon the pond, because there's water that comes in from a spring, there's water that comes in from the back from a small creek. The water is going to settle in there anyway, so cleanliness wise it's best to have some kind of pond. Because if you did want to abandon it, we could push some dirt into the pond and then just put like a dry creek bed in essentially, so the water will run through that area but not really hold water. That itself is also a couple grand, but then you don't have to continue doing the maintenance of it. Instead, I just kind of want to get a feel for how far you wanted to go before I put some really hard numbers to it.
Ideally, I'd like to do something that just kind of like placates it for a while.
Yeah, just kind of knocks it down until then. Okay.
It doesn't sound like that's...
Yeah, that may be where we bring the small machine in, cut down a few trees, haul them out, and then kind of go around the edges as far as we can and knock the weeds down. And like I said, they'll pop back up.
Is there better time of year to do this, or no?
Nah, unfortunately, because that's fed with 2 different water sources, it's probably going to stay at the same water level most of the year.
Yeah, if you want to put those numbers together for me, that'd be great to do that. The small.
Okay, I'll put a number together then to cut vegetation 8 to 10 feet back all the way around, so I can go in with the mini excavator, and then I'll reach out 13 feet all the way around, knock everything down, haul a couple loads out, and it'll look okay for a couple years anyway.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. I'll send that over to you this evening. Okay.
So the HOA approved it. We just got the permit from the town.
Yeah.
One price without it in case the town doesn't let us. Shape them and top them because they're starting to stick up over our view.
I can see where they were cut before. You just
they were topped.
Do you like them round? You normally have a triangular shape to it.
Like the shape, just kind of lift it up, shorten it, and then whatever works with topping it off. So
I'll line item each one of them.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so if that day we don't get approval, we can just go without it. Very good. So you can get that to us today or tomorrow?
Tonight, yeah.
Oh, tonight, perfect. Okay, and then what's your schedule looking like?
Something like this I can do usually in a couple days.
Okay.
It's so small.
Yeah. I'm not in a super rush, so.
Okay. Met him 3 or 4 times over there about looking at the house. It's a steep lot, so we're doing that tall crawl space and the retaining wall, and I've had to have an engineer draw a bunch of stuff up. So he called me the other day and was like, hey, this is obviously taking forever to get started, and it's because I'm retired. I'm spending a lot of time at my beach house. I don't have the time really to organize all this stuff and to deal with the HOA to get the pre-approval. Would you want to just take the build over? And I was like, yeah, let me know exactly where you're at. What's the HOA's responses and stuff as of right now. Sent me over all of the plans that I've already reviewed, the engineered retaining wall plan and everything. And he says, and then he sent me the responses from the HOA. All right, so this is the bullshit that the HOA asked for. This is their response in the email after he sent over all the house plans, which are all done by an architect and an engineer. There's a retaining wall and some drainage stuff that's all done by an engineer. This is their response. There's 2 different sections. One's that just says overall and general, and one that says specific comment overall. Your revised elevation plans and square footage passed the architectural committee and LVS covenants as overall, and it will be a beautiful home as designed. However, there are specific comments below that will need to be addressed prior to the construction. This is the first one. Revised plans specify your home is being built to the 2018 NC Residential Building Code. LVS has no specific comment on this. However, NC does have updated building codes as recent as 2023 or later. Local inspectors will likely follow the latest building codes in effect. Are they insinuating we're going to build a house inferior to building code? Like, these motherfuckers, the problem is these motherfuckers think they're smarter than an architect, an engineer, and local building inspector. Next thing is, March 2024 comments refer to final approval being contingent on drainage plans, gutter and channel roof area, water back to the lake. And then it says, please design and size piping for drainage water into the lake accordingly via piping versus ravine. All water runoff above or adjacent property and lot owner's liability and is not responsible for LVS. So what they're saying in this big long section here is make sure that all your drainage is sized accordingly, although an engineer has designed it and they have the engineered plan. Septic system installed around 2009, never used, should be tested and inspected, operating properly before occupying house. Please verify from your reports that this has been completed. In addition, septic laterals should show septic system 10 foot off the neighbor's property, so testing is warranted. Of course, if it was ever installed correctly and inspected, it would already comply to all of this, but they're just repeating themselves. Plan shows a 6 foot by 100 foot retaining wall behind the house bordering gravel driveway. Due to the steep terrain as shown by the topography, is this wall sufficient height to support the building as designed? So again, questioning the engineer's design. And then they just say, during the construction, where do you plan to put all your building materials, and you can't block the road. And then finally, any damage to the HOA road, he's gonna be responsible for. But this fucking email has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points and only 2 of them pertain to the HOA stuff. Everything else is about the man's actual structural integrity of his build. Number 1, if the guy wants to build a house that's not structurally sound, that's his prerogative. He's gonna spend $400,000 plus on this house build. If he wants to waste it, let him waste it. Second of all, you think he's gonna spend $400,000 on a house that he plans to live in, and we're gonna build under a GC license that's not gonna be to code, you know? This whole email is just someone who's over a board beating on their chest trying to prove how smart they are. And this is what we're about to get into with this build with these motherfuckers. Fortunately though, once we have the approval, we can just get the hell out of here. We already have the approval, you know. Maybe un tonton ahí, 2 horas con grava. Ese ahí, arriba de la tierra.
Allá donde están los árboles.
Y yo atrás, baby, 1 con la skid steer por mano. Sale, necesito me hablar con el teléfono.